Google has launched yet another groundbreaking model this week, Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, aka Nano Banana. And this model is the best we have ever seen for generating and editing images. If you are an entrepreneur, developer, builder, vibe coder, I highly recommend you check this model out because there are some massive opportunities to build startups and apps around this thing. I'm going to go over 3 ideas you can start building today around Nano Banana. Let's go. Now, what is Nano Banana? It's the code name for Gemini 2.5 Flash Image, which was released a few days ago by Google. People are already talking about how good this model is, and there are really 3 things that set it apart from everything we've seen so far. Number 1, it is incredibly fast, often taking just a few seconds to generate an image from a prompt or another image. Number 2, it is super cheap. It costs about $4 to generate 1,000 images with this thing. And number 3, and this is probably the best part, it is incredibly consistent. And let me just show you a little bit of what you can do with this thing. You can replace any object in a photo. You can color old photos. You can even take 2 unrelated photos like this picture of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and combine it into a brand new photo. You can create different style remixes of the same photo. You can create ads and copy just from a prompt. You can virtually try on clothes or jewelry. You can even virtually redesign your house. There is a whole lot you can do with this app. It is really quite something. And let me just show you an example of the consistency of Nano Banana. So I put in this photo. It's kind of a famous photo of the 4 co-founders of OpenAI. I asked what this might look like from a different angle. You can see it kind of skews the perspective a little bit, and it's maintaining consistency the whole time. Nobody's faces are changing. Their clothes aren't changing. Any jewelry or watches they're wearing, it's not changing. Again, it's keeping it very consistent between the scenes. I asked what this might look like from behind. You can see it's not always 100% perfect, and sometimes it kind of overthinks the consistency. Like this picture right here would be if literally these subjects stood up, turned around, and you move the couch behind them, it would result in this. But, you know, again, this is really, really smart perspective and consistency between photos. And it really tries very hard to imagine what people look like from different angles in a way I've never seen other image models do. You can see it does a great job of showing what an aerial shot might look like of this same photo. You can reimagine basically any photo from any angle using the new Gemini model. And if you're wondering what I'm using here to chat with the Gemini 2.5 Flash image model, this is Google AI Studio, which is probably the easiest way to actually use and interact with this new Nano Banana model. There are some limits, but it is free up to a certain point to use every day. You don't have to use an API key that you pay for, and you can just start playing with this thing right now. But you may be wondering what this has to do with AI coding, because if you follow this channel, you know we like to cover everything from in-depth tutorials about Claude Code and other workflows and tools to help you turn your ideas into apps. And today we're focusing on the idea end of that equation, because there are some big opportunities right now to build apps around this Nano Banana model. And I think this sums up more than anything this tweet by Levels.io, who is a famous sort of solopreneur and indie hacker. And he's saying, if you're not building a mini startup with Nano Banana today and launching it tomorrow, you're missing the opportunity of a lifetime. Basically, this is going to spawn a lot of really cool startups and ideas. And I hope to give you guys 3 ideas right now that you can start today. So let's get into our first idea, which is an app for AI image background removal. Now, this is something that Gemini's new image model does really, really well. I've put in a thumbnail from one of my previous videos in here, asked it to remove background and text, and in just a few seconds, it does it absolutely perfectly. And it can pretty much do that for every single photo you throw at it. This is another random photo of me at the park. It, again, perfectly removes the background in just a few seconds. Now, if you're wondering if this is much of a step function better than what else is out there, compare GPT-5, which is another leading model. This is what it does with the same prompt. I gave it the same thumbnail, asked it to remove the background and the text, and you can see it did a pretty bad job. It removed the text, but it didn't remove any of the background, and it shifted my face off the screen. So again, that consistency issue I was talking about earlier. So what might an app look like that does this? I've created a very simple mock-up in Google AI Studio around the Nano Banana model to show you what a background image removal app could be. It's literally just a way to upload the image, and you can see I can pick an image. This is my most recent thumbnail from my most recent video. And again, in just a few seconds, it's able to remove the background. All you really need to do from here is once you have a mock-up of the app, and you can do this in Google AI Studio, I find it's probably the best way to visualize what you can do with Nano Banana. You can either connect this to GitHub or download the code. Then I would recommend just putting it into Claude Code, and you can add things like authorization with Clerk or Supabase. You can add a backend database with Supabase or maybe Convex, and you can add add a payment portal with either Stripe or Polar, and Claude Code can do all of these things really quickly. And you can see very easily how you can spin up something over the weekend to make and ship an app that does this. And this is really low-hanging fruit. I really hope one of you guys goes out and does this, because I think this is a great business idea. And if you're wondering how can I possibly monetize or make money off this tiny little micro SaaS startup that is image background removal, I point you to remove.bg, which is literally a single feature product that just removes background images using AI. Now, this company's been around for a while. Their technology was actually acquired by Canva in 2021, and you can now use their background image removal in Canva. Again, this is a common paid feature you can see in things like Adobe Photoshop and other professional photo editing platforms, but these are all paid features, right? This is not free. So you can definitely monetize this, and you can see these guys even charge anywhere from $9 to $90 a month to process images and remove backgrounds. So I think this is a great business opportunity. I think it's super easy to spin up. I hope you guys do it. This brings us to our second app idea, which is an app for AI photo correction and restoration. So this one was actually inspired by a pain point of mine. I have a lot of photos that I've taken over the years that are just not quite right. Maybe you try to take a perfect picture while you're on vacation and something got cut off. There's a crowd in the background. There's photo bombers. It's blurred. There's all these problems that are just so hard to correct after the fact. And I think AI image models present an opportunity to fix that. And when they're getting as good as Nano Banana, they really can fix that. So I want to show you a couple of things that I've been experimenting with that I think you could create an app around for this correction and restoration. So for example, this is a photo I took at the Taj Mahal several years ago. Obviously, a lot of really popular destinations around the world, really popular landmarks are super crowded. You might wonder when you take the photo, what would this look like if I had been able to take this when nobody was here? Now, I've asked Gemini Nano Banana to do that, and look how quickly and easily it does just that. Now, there might be a stray person here or there in the picture, but it has literally removed probably like 1,000 people from this picture, which is absolutely incredible. If you've ever tried to do this in like, say, Apple Photos or something like that, it just doesn't do it right. Like, it looks so bad. When you remove things from the picture, what it leaves behind doesn't look anything like what the background would be. Gemini fills everything in perfectly, maintaining that consistency between the image. And look at this. I took the picture slightly off center here. And so I've asked Gemini to kind of fix that to make it look like I'm perfectly in the center of this reflecting pool. And again, it does that to make it look like I took literally the perfect picture of this, which is so awesome. Here's another example, a picture of me on the beach got cut off, and I wanted to see what would it look like had it been complete and it didn't cut off my arm. And you can see that Gemini kind of fills that in a natural looking way. And what if I wanted the subject to be looking forward? Now, interestingly, it's not entirely perfect here because I think I'm so far away and the image is blurry, but it really tries to fill in my face. And when I ask it to use this face instead, it gets a little bit closer to how I look, but again, not quite perfect. But you can do quite a lot with this, like put sunglasses on the subject and zoom in till you get the perfect picture that you like. And all of this started from a picture that kind of sucked. So you can see the kind of potential that the Nano Banana model provides for this correction and restoration. So what might this look like if you were to build an app around this concept of restoration correction? So this is a really rough mock-up that I put together on Google AI Studio, and it kind of demonstrates what you might be able to do here. You've got some smart collages, photo repair, style remixes, you can upload photos, etc. But I want to kind of showcase what this can do just by uploading and correcting photos. So I'm going to upload a sample photo here. So this is actually the first photo ever taken, or allegedly the first photo ever taken. Gemini actually profiled this on their X account as something you could do with the Gemini Nano Banana model. I'm going to ask it to basically restore this to make it look like it's a picture taken with the technology available today. And I had to run it one more time to make sure it was in color, but you can see it's taken some liberties here, but this is really cool. You can take completely messed up blurry photos and turn them into pixel perfect, beautiful photos like this and build an app around it today. And again, just like before, you can connect this to GitHub, or you can just download the code and put it in Claude Code and build a wrapper around this to have auth and a database and payments. And if you get confused at any point in time about how to use Claude Code to do that, I recommend checking out my prior videos, especially the ones about how to get started with Claude Code, how to do the 10x workflow with Claude Code, and also how to use MCPs, which I have 2 videos on how to do that. But again, I hope one of you guys starts this, and let's get into the next business idea. That brings us to our third and final idea, which is an AI-powered sketch and whiteboard app. Now, before we get into what that might look like, let me just explain what the use case here is. So let's say you have a very rough handwritten sketch, some kind of diagram about your app. Here's like a really simple dumbed down diagram, but this is just for illustration purposes. I've got a handwritten sketch of an app with 3 different components. You have a database, auth, and payments, and it's got Supabase, Clerk, and Polar under each of those, and some arrows, circles, and squares. And basically, it's not very presentable. It's rough, but what if there's a way to turn this into something you could put into a presentation or documentation for your app or a pitch deck? And that is exactly what Gemini Nano Banana can do. In just a few seconds, it turns it into this. Now you can iterate on this more, make it look different, but I thought this was a really good first try. This is something that's definitely a lot more polished than the previous. So you can imagine an app that can sort of automate a lot of this, whether it's a sketch that you draw by pen and paper or a sketch that you draw on some online whiteboard app with your desktop or iPad or iPhone. So again, here's a rough mock-up of what an app might look like that does this. But the business opportunity here is to take a manual drawing tool like Excalidraw or Miro or TLDR Draw. These are tools where you have to manually kind of polish and edit and make it look nice, and take that manual work and offload it to AI. So you can take something that looks like this that is super rough. You can open an AI assistant powered by the Nano Banana model, and you can upload a prompt to create something that looks better. And you can see in just a few seconds, it generated something that is a whole lot more polished and better. And you can just apply it right to your whiteboard, which is really cool. You can see it created an extra step here, but with some prompt engineering, which I've done here, you can get it to look right. And this is something you could totally build an app around today. And I hope one of you guys does this. Honestly, if you do, please drop a comment below because I would love to use this. So there you have it. My goal here was to get the creative juices flowing to see what you guys can build and ship with Nano Banana. And I seriously hope somebody goes out and builds one of the app ideas I went over today. Some of you probably have some even better ideas, and by all means, go for it and go build something awesome. Make sure to subscribe for more tutorials like this and drop a comment below to let me know what you create with Nano Banana. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.